Hi there. We are here today with Tony Provenzano. Love that name. From Plymouth. He is a lawyer, but he's also running for re-election for selectman in this lovely town. So we have a number of questions that we would like to ask of you. Number one, how many square miles really is Plymouth?
Plymouth is 105 square miles. It is the largest municipality by area in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Now, I had heard that it was the largest on the whole eastern seaboard. Is that so?
I don't know that that's necessarily the case if you take Florida into account, but it certainly would be one of the larger municipalities by area, certainly in the Northeast.
Yep, definitely. What's the population?
Population right now is nearly 60,000 folks year-round, and we have a summer population. It is a coastal community. So in the summertime, our population swells to over 80,000 folks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you consider the population to be older, or are there a lot of young families?
Well, Plymouth has always had a very diverse population in terms of age and demographic. Certainly we are a wonderful place for growing families. We're a wonderful place to raise a family. I think, though, that following national trends, and to some extent as a result of some interesting factors in Plymouth, the population is beginning to skew a bit older. Yeah.
Interesting factors like what?
Interesting factors like the development of the Pine Hills community where we now sit. My office is located in the middle of a parcel of land that 15 years ago was completely open. It had been owned years ago by the Digital Equipment Corporation. They were going to put their corporate headquarters here, but the high-tech industry, going the way the high-tech industry has gone in Massachusetts, not really needing that type of infrastructure, manufacturing, headquarters area. The Digital Equipment Corporation, having gotten swallowed by Compaq and HQ, no longer needed the land, so they turned to the town and had a question: how do we develop this? How will this to be developed? And the town had a problem on its hand. And fortunately for the town, that problem was solved by a group of very forward-thinking developers who created a zoning arrangement in this area that basically appealed to empty nesters and to new retirees, insofar as every home in this development has its master suite on the first floor, and there are no more than 3 bedrooms in any home. There are eventually going to be 3,000 homes in this development. Right now there are about 2,000 that are built out, and that has brought a wave of new retirees, folks towards the end of their career, and that has had the effect of skewing the demographic of the town slightly older.
I understand that Pine Hills has its own fire department, its own water resources. Can you tell us about that?
Half right.
Okay.
The Pine Hills, sometimes the folks here get a little confused insofar as they pay a water district fee, but the water district fee isn't for the fire department. The water district fee is to maintain the hydrants. Strangely enough, by planning and zoning and other bylaw rules, they didn't have to have fire hydrants in this development. They could have built it without that, which would have required tank trucks to come in to fight a fire, which is insane.
Yes.
So I think the developer, in their wisdom, decided to create a fire hydrant system which plays off of their water system. So the fire fee that they pay is to maintain that hydrant system.
I see.
The firehouse at the opening, at the entrance to the community, is a municipal fire station paid through municipal taxes.
Wow. Nicely said. Thank you very much. What is your form of government here in Plymouth?
Form of government is a representative town meeting and a 5-member board of selectmen. So we have 15 precincts, and each of those precincts sends 8 town meeting members, 135 town meeting members, which meet at least twice a year. We have a spring town meeting that is largely budgetary in nature, and then we have a fall town meeting that usually spends its time thinking about planning issues. So they meet twice a year, and then the Board of Selectmen, the executive authority of the town, where I've had the privilege to sit for the last 3 years, meet pretty much on a weekly basis on Tuesdays.
Really?
Pretty much.
Weekly? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what the names of the neighborhoods in Plymouth are? I know that there are some main ones,
Well, there are
like
5 village centers
Okay.
that were created as a result of planning pre-Pine Hills. And really, when you think of it, Pine Hills is now the 6th village center. But they go from North Plymouth, the downtown harbor, West Plymouth, Manomet, and Cedarville. Yeah. And each one of them is unique, and each one of them
They
brings
certainly
something
are.
to the table. They really are. They're great. I love this time of year. It's campaign season, so I'm working the neighborhoods. I'm knocking on doors, and it's a lot of fun going out into the neighborhoods and listening to folks. It's fun, but it's also an education, and it's great to hear from folks what's on their mind and what is what they're thinking about as we approach Election Day.
Well, good. I'm glad you're doing that. Let me see. We wanted to know, when is the Mayflower 2 going to be back this year?
Yeah, the Mayflower 2 is going to be back this year, but I'm afraid that if we treat the Mayflower 2 as the Mayflower 2 ought to be treated, we may see her gone for a couple of years in 18 and 19, which is really 17 and 18, which is very difficult given the fact that we are in the run-up to 2020, the
Right.
400th anniversary of the landing of the Pilgrims.
Can you tell us a little bit about that too? I mean, don't finish what you were saying about the Mayflower, but we also want to hear about the...
Let me just give you the quick on the boat.
Okay.
It needs $8 million to bring it to where it ought to be, and doing little half repairs is not very helpful, because if you do a half repair and then put it back at its berth, by the time the season is over, a lot of those repairs have gone backwards. So it really needs some love, some serious love. The Plymouth 400, I sit on the board of the Plymouth 400 Corporation. I've been
Can
on
you
the
tell
board.
our viewers what that is?
The Plymouth 400 Corporation is a not-for-profit corporation which was created to help plan the commemoration of the landing of the Pilgrims back in 1620, and of course that will come to a head in 2020.
Right.
Yeah, we're very excited about it.
Well, what are some of the things that are being planned?
The not-for-profit corporation is mostly involved with event type of issues. The first of them is really not an event. It's a traveling road show. We have a traveling exhibit which will be traveling throughout the country through 17, 18, and 19 to try to build some momentum and some enthusiasm and to educate people about the true Pilgrim story. Right now we have arrangements with the Gerald Ford Museum in Michigan to have that exhibit stay there for a few months. And it will go a long way towards bringing people here for the larger events. They're going to range from a sunrise service out on the National Seashore, an ecumenical service, to an opening ceremony, which will probably happen at Memorial Hall, and where we may see dignitaries. In 1920, we had 2 U.S. presidents come to the festivities because it was overlapped a couple of presidential terms, and Warren Harding was here, and we do hope to have the President of the United States come to Plymouth. And with any luck, we also hope to have some crown royalty of Europe. The Queen did come to Jamestown in 2007, and she just celebrated her 90th birthday.
I
And I
know.
don't put it past her to get on the old jet and come to Plymouth. It could happen.
It could.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
And there'll be a large embarkation festival, which will happen sometime in the summer. The problem we have with the Pilgrims is they didn't do anything that coincided with a nice time of the year weather-wise.
How dare they?
So it's very difficult. They landed in December, Thanksgiving in November, all these. But the one thing they did leave Plymouth, England in August. So we're hoping to take that as a hook and use that as a commemorative event to have something grand in the summer of 2020.
But, fall in New England is gorgeous
It's
too.
lovely.
But
It's my favorite time of year.
yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too. Let's see. What else would I want to ask you about? What's going on with the Pilgrim power plant?
The Pilgrim Power Plant has been producing energy out on Rocky Point since 1972. It
Wow.
originally got a 40-year license. The 40-year license was renewed for another 20, but everyone knew when that 20-year extension was granted that it would not make it through the full 20 years. And lo and behold, the Entergy Corporation, a New Orleans-based company that runs the power plant, announced last year that it would be closing. The only question was whether it would be in 17 or 19. We were just told that, in fact, they will do that final refueling and that the plant will remain open until 2019, June of 2019, at which point we will start the process of decommissioning, which is something that's going to be if I am fortunate enough to be reelected, will be occupying quite a bit of my time over the next 3 years as we plan, continue to plan that decommissioning process, which, to take the mystery out of it, is really a very highly regulated demolition of a plant.
Okay.
And will result at the end with that plant being completely gone, the core gone. The only real issue that remains for the people of Plymouth that is of paramount concern to me is what happens to the used fuel rods that have been producing electricity on that plant low these last 48 years or so. And convincing my friends on the federal level to fulfill the promise they made to the people of Plymouth to take those rods and put them in a permanent fuel repository rather than store them on site in perpetuity.
Do these fuel repositories exist already?
Well, the fuel repository that the government set up in 1982 is in Yucca Mountain, Nevada. It is next to the Nellis Air Force Base and near the mysterious Area 51.
I was going to ask you about that.
It's hard by Area 51, and it's basically a cavern under a mountain that has been constructed and merely needs permitting. But unfortunately, there are forces afoot in Washington that are not keen, and forces afoot in Nevada that are not keen on the nation's nuclear waste being stored there. It's 95 miles from Las Vegas, but I think 95 miles from Las Vegas is a lot better than 3 miles from downtown Plymouth.
I agree.
To my untutored sense.
We're both a little biased, I will admit.
I suppose.
So how's it going with the running for re-election?
Election time, it's a lot of fun. It's energizing, but it's wearing because after all, I'm a practicing attorney and I have an office that I have to deal with, and I am also a active member of the Board of Selectmen, and that takes up a fair amount of time. So adding that third component is difficult, but I'm looking forward to. We have forums coming up, and there are always things to do. Getting out and meeting the people is an important part of serving the people. If you don't know what they're thinking, if you don't know where their heads are at, you really can't effectively lead.
I got you. Just a few small questions, like how's the new high school doing?
The new high school, the new or the newer high school?
The newer.
Yeah, the newer high school.
Plymouth, it's still called Plymouth North?
Well, Plymouth North is the not quite as new high school as the new Plymouth South, where the steel is going up as we speak, just
really?
A couple of miles that way, right? And that's not a very fortunate situation. The Plymouth North High School was rebuilt after a 1962 structure which didn't owe us a dime, basically gave up the ghost, and we did what we had to do and built a beautiful new high school. And if you've been there, it's a great resource for the children, for the whole community of the town. It's got a great performing arts space.
Oh, nice.
And it is also next to a wonderful coalition on age, what we call the Nook, the senior center, which is which is a perfect planning, putting the seniors next to the high school students. There's so many cross collaborations that can happen there. It's a great thing.
Good.
The less fortunate circumstance was Plymouth South High School, which was built only 28 years ago, but in fact was a design and construction disaster from day one. Now has had to be replaced.
Oh,
and the town again bit the bullet. Agreed to the debt. We were faced with a situation on Plymouth South High School where we could have either repaired the thing and corrected the deficiencies, would have cost the town $31 million with the state not kicking in a dime, or build